going on, you guys? Amongst the popular conversation in the community with Terrence Bud Crawford, Arrow the Truth, Big Fish Spence Jr., Oscar De La Hoya has seemed to have taken sides with Terrence Crawford. When Terrence Crawford came out with the video explaining what happened, when Terrence Crawford explained what happened in negotiations with Haymon in the Errol Spence fight, Oscar De La Hoya comes out and lets it all out in regards to his situation and his dealings with Haymon. And yeah, Oscar had quite a bit to say. And if you don't know, now you know. Oscar De La Hoya used to have a lot of these guys that now Haymon and PBC have. A lot of these guys were Golden Boy fighters early on. For those who don't know, now you know. But Oscar De La Hoya, he seemed to be quite fired up at the whole notion of Terrence Crawford pretty much airing out some of the truths in the situation, right? And Oscar De La Hoya says this: "Don't you effing get it? Haymon is the cancer here. When I promoted Broner, Spence, Leo, Deontay, Thurman, etc., they were relevant, and I had a plan for them to become stars. Now they're just fighting one time a year, if that. Wake up, you idiots." See, he was going back and forth with fans on Twitter, the worst place on earth. And yeah, he proceeds to say, "My respects to Terrence Crawford and exposing the Haymon circus. I've been dealing with this shit for years. I promoted the PBC fighters, and it's all the same bullshit with them. They are not in charge. I'll be going live soon to elaborate and expose the truth." Oh, wow. So Oscar De La Hoya said he's going live to expose the truth. So one would assume that something is not going right with this Tank Davis-Ryan Garcia fight. One would imagine that fight fell through as well. And it won't be a good look for PBC if that fight also doesn't get made, right? And then Oscar says, "I did talk before because I try and be a professional. But now I know I'm dealing with a bunch of losers and casuals that don't know about the business of boxing." So Oscar De La Hoya is pretty much arguing with the fans at this point on Twitter, the worst place on earth. And he should have known better than even go on Twitter talking, because everybody got something to say on Twitter. They don't care who you are. They don't care how much money you got. They don't care how bad of a fighter you are. They will come on there and talk their shit. This is what they do on Twitter, the worst place on earth. Then he says, "F the casuals. I'm speaking my voice and standing up for the truth and the fighters." So a lot of probably Spence fans and guys who are pro PBC probably coming for Oscar De La Hoya from coming out and siding with Terrence Crawford and saying the things that he said. Now, of course, Oscar De La Hoya and these guys sued Haymon some years ago, and some emails, some racist email things that got leaked out and all this stuff. So there's been a lot of history between the PBC and the Golden Boy, right? The PBC, of course, took all of Oscar De La Hoya's fighters, his black fighters, most of them, all of them, and yeah, Oscar probably don't feel necessarily good about that even today. Because if you look at his stable, he hardly has any black fighters that he can really sell or promote or match up with each other. It's not looking good over there for Golden Boy, but yet they still manage to stay relevant in the sport of boxing. Then Oscar says, "What do you mean bitter? Don't you assholes want to see fights happen? I guess you don't know shit about boxing. You casual." Whoa, Oscar going in today. I got it on the screen for you to read as well, because yeah, Oscar seems to be quite fired up. So yeah, this energy that Oscar is pushing out is probably from the Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight falling through, bro. That's probably what happened. Tank Davis is oh boy. I don't even know if I'm supposed to reveal this right now. Shit, I almost said it. Tank Davis is not going to be fighting Ryan Garcia. He's not going to be fighting Ryan Garcia December 17th. This is supposed to be the date Tank is looking to return. Probably in Atlanta. That date that we saw that was for Atlanta, that's probably going to be for Tank Davis. So, yeah. And one would imagine Ryan Garcia will not be fighting Tank Davis in Atlanta. Honestly, you guys, that fight may not happen until 2023. And the difference between this fight and the Crawford-Spence fight is that these are still young guys. So, yeah, but it's funny that why didn't it happen this year? It seemed they said it was agreed. Ryan seemed to have agreed upon everything, and for whatever reason, the fight's still not happening. Terrence Crawford was alleged to have agreed on everything. Guess what? That fight did not happen. So when you look at it, it's like, okay, this is starting to become a common trend when dealing with the premier boxing champions. I'm not saying exactly what it is, but that's what it's looking like. And then I guess one of the fans says, Oscar, stop the cap, man. Your fighters are inactive as well. Ortiz, Garcia fighting once a year. If that, why wait to talk after Crawford? You part of the problem as well, my boy. And then Oscar says, not true. Ortiz pulled out of the fight because of health reasons. Ryan has fought now and wants Tank, but Al is dragging his feet. Facts, my son. Wow. Dude said, well, my boy. He said, facts, my son. Oscar De La Hoya is going back and forth on Twitter, the worst place on earth. I mean, so basically they dragging their feet with the Ryan fight too, bro. You know what I'm saying? So when we looking at this Crawford Spence thing, and I didn't really want to make it too much about that because we gonna have enough time to talk about that. But it's looking like PBC is the issue, bro. If I'm honest, because fans tend to blame everybody else, whether it's hashtag blame Crawford or Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Ryan Garcia, or they never wanted to fight anyway. Nah, bro. I'm not sitting here. I'm not buying that all the time. Because now when you start to see a common trend here, it seems like it's always almost like pulling teeth to get a fighter that's outside of PBC to fight a fighter that's inside the PBC. They told Crawford to leave Bob Arum because the fight ain't happening because Bob Arum. Guess what? He left Bob Arum. The fight still ain't happening. So who's the problem here, right? That's what we got to ask ourselves. Of course, a lot of fans that may not be very objective going to say, oh, well, you know, these guys, they sued out Haymon years ago and he did this, and Terrence Crawford, he took too long and he wants money and transparency. Excuses. And then Oscar says, they have zero prospects because they do not know how to build. When Al and other people stole all the fighters I built, what did I do? I started from scratch again, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. So when he come, Oscar De La Hoya is letting it all out. He said that Al Haymon stole his fighters, right? And then he had to start all over from scratch, right? He didn't do nothing about it. I mean, now we heard about him soon. Yeah. Him and Bob Arum tried to sue Al Haymon. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he kind of did do something about something. But that was a while ago now, and they tried to make a fight with Ryan and Tank. That's what my major concern is right now. Like, why didn't that fight happen? Why is it not happening in 2022? Like, why is it not happening? It's not like it's going to be a fight where the fighter's going to be wanting 8-figure paydays apiece, and you know Crawford is a guy who's going to want a substantial amount of money. Spence going to want a lot of money. These are young fighters, so why didn't this fight happen? I mean, why? Like, why didn't it happen in 2022? This is why Oscar's upset, folks, and this is why he was probably glad that Crawford came out and said what he said, because now it gave him the motivation to come out and say what he's got to say, despite putting the fight with Ryan at risk, right? But Tank Davis, at this point, I think that fight has to happen for Gervonta Tank Davis, because the narrative is going to be, once you guys hear Tank Davis' next opponent, I don't think not too many of you guys are going to be happy to hear it. I think he's a solid guy. But I also question, like, why? You know what I'm saying? I also question why I'm not going to reveal it just yet. You know, I heard who his opponent's supposed to be. Some of you guys may have heard it. Others may not have heard it. But you're going to be quite surprised when you hear it. It's like, wait a minute, what? Like, yeah, man. Again, like, come on, bro. Look, we going to go live later on and talk about this. What Spence had to say. Of course, throughout the day, more stories may develop. So by the time we do go live around the same time, 4:30, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, it's going to be more to talk about. So we're going to find out what happens today. But this is what happened yesterday. Oscar De La Hoya had quite a bit to say in regards to the situation with Terrence Crawford and him airing out the negotiation situation. So, yeah, man. Apparently, this Tank and Ryan fight is happening. You could tell by the way Oscar De La Hoya is going in on Twitter. But tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holler at your boy. Peace out.